When we think about personal growth, we often imagine sunny days filled with inspiration and motivation. But here's the harsh truth: it's not always fun. In fact, studies show that 75% of people feel overwhelmed by the pressure to constantly improve themselves. That's a staggering number. Many of us get trapped in the cycle of wanting to grow but feeling exhausted and burned out instead. Did you know that about 50% of people who set New Year's resolutions abandon them by the end of January? This statistic reveals how difficult it is to stay committed to personal development. The truth is, growth often means facing uncomfortable feelings, breaking old habits, and sometimes feeling very lonely. So, why do we do it? Because the rewards are worth it. Real personal growth can lead to greater happiness, better relationships, and a deeper understanding of ourselves. But it's crucial to understand that the journey is not always pretty. In this video, we'll dive deep into the unexpected challenges of personal growth. From the motivation trap to the loneliness that comes with change, we'll explore strategies to navigate these obstacles. You'll discover why embracing failure is essential and how to avoid burnout along the way. Buckle up. This journey might not be what you expect, but it's exactly what you need. Chapter 1. The motivation trap. Why you can't rely on feeling inspired when you start your personal growth journey. It's easy to think motivation is the key to success. But the truth is, motivation is fleeting. You won't feel inspired every day, and that's where many people stumble. Studies show that motivation spikes when we start something new, but quickly fades once the novelty wears off. It's called the motivation wave, and it's a trap. Relying on motivation alone is like relying on sunshine in a cloudy city. It comes and goes. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, emphasizes that success is about building systems, not just chasing motivation. Instead of waiting to feel inspired, build habits that keep you moving even when you're not feeling it. For example, schedule your tasks like appointments that you can't miss. This creates consistency, which is far more reliable than waiting for inspiration to strike. Another key strategy is habit stacking. This involves linking a new habit to something you already do every day. If you want to start meditating, pair it with brushing your teeth. You'll naturally build it into your routine, so even on low motivation days, you stick to it. Remember, personal growth is 90% consistency and only 10% motivation. So stop waiting for the right mood to kick in. Instead, set up systems that work even when you don't feel like it. Chapter 2. The Lonely Road. Embracing isolation as part of growth. One thing people rarely talk about in personal development is loneliness. As you grow, you'll outgrow relationships, environments, and even your old identity. It's uncomfortable, but necessary. Think about this. A 2018 study from the University of California found that people who pursue personal growth often experience increased social isolation, especially when their priorities change. It's not because they're rejecting others, it's because not everyone is on the same path. You might feel like your friends don't understand you anymore. Maybe they're content with the status quo, while you're striving for more. This can be lonely, but it's also a sign of growth. Oprah Winfrey once said, "You can't be friends with everyone if you want to reach your full potential." One strategy to manage this isolation is to seek out a new tribe. Surround yourself with people who are on a similar journey. Join online communities or local groups that share your interests. Even just finding one or two people who understand your goals can make a huge difference. Another strategy is to learn to enjoy solitude. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's a chance to recharge, reflect, and focus on what's really important to you. Take time each week to sit with your thoughts, without distractions. It's during these quiet moments that you'll gain the most clarity. Isolation can be tough, but it's also where you find your true self. As you grow, you'll learn that being alone isn't the same as being lonely. Embrace the quiet, it's where the real magic happens. Chapter 3. The failure paradox. Why success is built on missteps. Failure is an inevitable part of growth. But here's the paradox. We're taught to avoid failure, yet it's the very thing that teaches us the most. Thomas Edison, when asked about his many failed attempts to create the light bulb, famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This mindset is crucial for personal growth. A 2020 study in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that people who view failure as a learning experience are 50% more likely to succeed in future tasks than those who see it as a setback. The key is to embrace failure as feedback, not a reflection of your worth. Every time you fail, you gain valuable information on what doesn't work, bringing you one step closer to what does. One effective strategy is to practice failing forward. This means treating failure as part of the process rather than something to be feared. When you fail, reflect on what went wrong, and adjust your approach. For example, if you're trying to build a new skill, and you fail an important test, ask yourself, was it a lack of preparation? Did I approach the material the wrong way? Use your failure to improve. Another strategy is to set micro goals. These are small, achievable steps that lead to bigger goals. The beauty of micro goals is that they give you quick wins, which boost confidence and help you keep moving forward, even after a failure. For instance, if your goal is to write a book, start with a daily word count of just 200 words. It's small, but it's progress. Remember, growth isn't about avoiding failure, it's about using it as fuel for improvement. Embrace failure, learn from it, and use it to propel you forward. If you find this content valuable, don't forget to subscribe for more insights into personal growth. Chapter 4. The Pain of Rewiring. Breaking free from old habits. Changing deeply ingrained habits is one of the hardest parts of personal growth. It's painful because your brain is wired to seek comfort and familiarity. Neuroscience shows that habits form neural pathways in your brain. The more you repeat a behavior, the stronger these pathways become. Breaking them isn't easy. According to a 2009 study from University College London, it takes an average of 66 days to form a new habit, not the often cited 21 days. The real challenge is that during the rewiring process, your brain resists. It craves the old, comfortable routines. To fight this, one strategy is to focus on tiny habits. Author B.J. Fogg, in his book Tiny Habits, explains that small, easy-to-do changes are more sustainable. For instance, if you want to start exercising, don't commit to a full workout right away. Start with just 5 minutes a day. This lowers resistance and builds momentum. Another strategy is to use temptation bundling. This means pairing a habit you need to do with something you enjoy. If you struggle to go for a run, listen to your favorite podcast only while running. Over time, your brain starts to associate the new habit with pleasure, making it easier to stick to. It's also important to recognize that setbacks are normal. You're going to have days when you fall back into old habits, and that's okay. The key is to not let one bad day turn into a bad week. As The Power of Habit author Charles Duhigg says, change might not be fast and it isn't always easy. But with time and effort, almost any habit can be reshaped. Chapter 5. The Identity Crisis. Losing yourself to find yourself. Personal growth often leads to an identity crisis. When you change your habits, beliefs, and values, it can feel like you're losing yourself. This is because you're shedding the old version of you that no longer fits. It's uncomfortable but necessary. As you grow, your old identity becomes outdated, and that's where the crisis begins. A Harvard study found that identity crises are more common during times of rapid change, such as career shifts or personal development journeys. This happens because your brain struggles to reconcile who you were with who you're becoming. But here's the silver lining. This crisis is proof that you're evolving. One strategy to navigate this is to embrace the concept of identity evolution. Instead of clinging to your old identity, view it as something fluid. James Clear points out that true change happens when you shift your identity. For example, don't just try to quit smoking. Start seeing yourself as a non-smoker. This small mental shift makes the change stick. Another effective strategy is journaling. Journaling helps you reflect on your growth and clarify the person you're becoming. It's a space to process your thoughts and work through the confusion. Write about what you're feeling, what's changing, and where you want to go next. It's okay to not have all the answers right away. Remember, an identity crisis isn't a sign that something's wrong. It's a sign that you're letting go of the old to make room for the new. You're not losing yourself, you're finding the next version of you. Chapter 6. The Burnout Reality. When growth feels exhausting, personal growth isn't always energizing. In fact, it can often feel like burnout. We live in a culture that glorifies constant self-improvement, but the truth is, pushing yourself too hard leads to exhaustion. A 2021 survey by Deloitte found that 77% of professionals have experienced burnout at some point, and this often happens when we take on too much, too fast, in the name of growth. One strategy to avoid burnout is to embrace the rest cycle. Growth requires rest, just like muscles need recovery after a workout. Arianna Huffington, in The Sleep Revolution, highlights how rest isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity for productivity and growth. Schedule time for relaxation and downtime, whether it's through mindfulness practices, reading, or simply taking a walk. Another important strategy is to set boundaries. It's easy to get caught up in self-improvement, but overcommitting to too many goals at once is a recipe for burnout. Focus on one or two areas of growth at a time. Studies show that multitasking reduces effectiveness, and spreading yourself too thin will leave you exhausted without seeing real progress. Finally, practice self-compassion. Research from the University of Texas found that people who are kind to themselves are more likely to achieve their goals because they recover faster from setbacks. Instead of beating yourself up for not being perfect, give yourself credit for the effort. Celebrate small wins and remember that growth is a marathon, not a sprint. Burnout happens when we think we can grow without rest, but the truth is, rest is a key part of the process. So, take a step back when you need to. You'll come back stronger, more focused, and ready to continue the journey. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe for more insights into the real challenges of personal growth and how to overcome them.